Again, need some food. Remember, spreading kindness starts with you being kind to yourself first. Remember. Okay, jumping directly back into the story. Last thing was the poor red panda cub was locked in the cabinet and she didn't know what was going on with the circus owner or her twin sibling. So here we go. In an effort, my friends, to expeditiously lighten the mood, we shall continue with the journey of Brightfire, the Clydesdale sister who took the direction north of the road around the old growth forest. Much like Autumn and the Great Horned Owl, Brightfire took off at full speed from the circus caravan. She could easily see the plains to her right and the tree line to her left. This new adventure was so very exciting. Brightfire was running faster and easier than any other time in her life, breathing in deeply and snorting out the used air from her soft nose. Everything was new and exhilarating, and she was absolutely giddy with excitement. Now at this moment, directly in Brightfire's path, was a small berm in which Old Mother and Father Badger lived. Old Mother Badger noticed her empty cookpots rattling, and Old Father Badger was checking the tires on the old tractor and saw the roof of their house shaking. From inside the house was heard, "Oh my!" And from outside the house it was heard, "You gotta be shitting me." Brightfire was very excited and moving at full gallop. At the last moment she saw the small berm and leaned away, avoiding the badger's home. From through an open window was heard, "Be careful, dear." From outside the house it was heard, "Slow your ass down." Brightfire galloped away. Old Mother and Father Badger shook their heads and paid no never mind. Brightfire continued her cross-country tour at full tilt, still in search of the vast sweet oat field next to the apple orchard. She was having a grand time, running and breathing and running. She was galloping so fast that she did not see the fallen dead tree trunk, which clipped both her front legs, causing her to flip and rotate along the ground until coming to rest. Brightfire quickly realized everything was painful, and as her eyelids became heavy, she thought in her mind, "The ski trip is canceled." The first thing Brightfire noticed was that it was dark. Then she opened her eyes and saw that the half of the half horizon sky in the field. She could hear her many voices saying, "Chiricoo, chiricoo, chiricoo." A final voice arose from the clamor. "Organize, people, organize. This animal has an injury. Tending and mending, please, quickly. Do not frighten the Clydesdale." Brightfire could hear many chiricoo voices and feel the small little animals tending to her injuries. Suddenly, one small animal appeared directly at her muzzle. To be honest, she wasn't sure what this animal was exactly, except a small mammal. Brightfire spoke. "Hello," she said weakly. "Introductions are in order," said Johann. "Please, gentle creature, do not move yet. Let my gang attend to your injuries. I am Johann, king of the gang of stoats. I have the abilities of speech and baking." "Please, my gentle friend," continued Johann, "why on earth were you traveling so quickly? Were you fleeing from your life?" "I thought," Brightfire replied weakly, "I thought I was having fun." "Fun?" said Johann. "I thought to have fun once, and everyone was perturbed. So enough of fun." Johann, king of the stoats, stood in front of Brightfire, holding his very clean tail in one hand and gesturing with the other as he spoke. She noticed how illustrious his tail was and how luxurious his coat was compared to the other stoats. "Gentle friend," said Johann, "what is your name?" "Brightfire," she replied. "Forgive me," begged Johann. "Brightfire, but are you looking at my tail? Isn't it fabulous?" "Yes," she said, "the most fabulous." Johann was now juggling his tail from side to side, which made Brightfire giggle. "Ow," she said. Johann let loose of his lustrous tail and clapped his small padded paws thrice. Raspberry tarts, lemon pie, blackberry tarts, apple pie. This gentle creature is in pain. Bring the remedies. The other stoats scurried in and out of their burrows, producing pies and tarts, the likes of which Brightfire had never seen. All of my pastries have sweet oats baked into the crust, said Johann. A large tear developed under Brightfire's eye and rolled all the way down her long nose. Johann, Brightfire. And there was joy and dancing in the land. At this very moment, my dear friend, we return to the edge of the old-growth forest where our friends the Clydesdale, with the mane the color of deep red autumn, and the great horned owl, were galloping and flying at top speed with no immediate destination. The broad path of the forest floor not only gave Autumn the room to gallop, but the owl ample room to fly. After observing all the elbow room, Autumn skidded to a halt, sending twigs and pine needles skidding upward, and the owl circled back and perched on a low branch to look at the Clydesdale in the eye. While speaking, the owl clicked his bill and then spoke aloud. So who won? Autumn made a light snort that made her nostrils flare and said, Who cares? It's a tie. Just look at this place. So much room to stretch out. I like it here. The owl let out a resounding triple hoot and then said, Oh, you do indeed. Autumn replied, Oh, yes, I do. From this time on, my friends, the Clydesdale and the owl shared dancing and joy, and they also pacified each other's scruples and gloom. The owl and the Clydesdale also took a hog farm in the forest. The owl often attempt to argue about business, to which the Clydesdale would quell and say, No time to argue, we have hogs to wash. Life was robust and routine until the owl began to play checkers. Checkers is, as games are concerned, innocent enough. As we know, dear friends, checkers is a game for two players. However, the owl was not playing checkers with the Clydesdale. The owl thought himself good at checkers, with no reason to learn more skillful games such as chess, lest the owl lose that big fish in the pond feeling. One day, an age ago, before the owl had liberated the Clydesdales from the circus caravan, he was flying through the old-growth forest and discovered a cottage made entirely of gingerbread held together by icing, candy floss, rock candy, spice drops, lemon drops, marshmallows, and all other manner of confections you can think up. The owl saw gray smoke rising from the gingerbread chimney and wanted to meet the neighbor. He knocked on the door. The door promptly opened, and a woman with a gray hood up, at a pleasant face like a Mona Lisa smile, greeted him. Hello, said the owl. I'm the great horned owl. The woman's smile did not change, but the owl heard a voice coming from inside the back of his head, saying, Lenore. As if oblivious to what had just happened, the owl said jovially, Nice to meet you, Lenore. This is some house you have. How long did it take you to build? Lenore's facial expression still did not change, and she did not speak. She simply raised her left hand and snapped her fingers. Oh, said the owl, you built this house in a snap. I see. Lenore took a step back and motioned with her left hand for the owl to enter. Why, thank you, said the owl. Upon entering, the owl observed the interior of the candy cottage, quaint yet comfortable. There was a wood-burning stove, and on the back of the wall, a table with two chairs. The table had a checkerboard at the ready. Lenore motioned with her left hand toward the table, inviting the owl to play. The great horned owl puffed his chest up and said, Checkers. Now, I must warn you, I'm quite good at checkers. So began the odd friendship of the owl and Lenore. He talking, she never. Checker games won and checker games lost. Lenore ever mindful to allow the owl to win more often than not, especially in the beginning.